already.
We are going live actually on YouTube, and I'm gonna post that link on our Facebook page so everyone can see what we're doing.
Yes. Okay. Okay, again, I'm so happy to have you with us today for this, our first webinar for Youth in Africa. And we are going to wait a bit for our guests to come, and then we'll start. Let's give it 5 more minutes. What do you think, Khadija and Coach Yassine?
Yes, okay, it's fine for me.
Okay.
Yeah, of course. We will be pleasure to have audience. That'd be great.
Okay, I think we should start. Okay, well, thank you so much for being with us for this first webinar and for youth in from Tunisia, for youth in Africa. I'm Haifa Khalfaoui. I'm CEO and founder of Les Espoirs, a startup in agri-tech, and I am the ambassador of Youth in Africa in Tunisia. So this is our first webinar where we are going to speak about being an entrepreneur in Tunisia and in Africa, in our continent, how has it been? And for that, we have our special guest, Khadija Jallouli, the CEO and founder of Howcar. And we have with us also Coach Yassine Sheker. We should have Hidayet with us. She will join us. She was stuck in traffic and she will join us soon. Let's start. So for first, Youth in Africa is for us is to help, is a pan-African organization, is to help youth in the continent with skills, to help them improve their skills and be prepared for the entrepreneurial world here in Africa. We are present in 46 countries. And yes, we are here from Tunisia. So let's start with our guests, our inspirational guests. I'll give it to you, Khadija, to present yourself and yes, tell us more about you.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Haifa, for inviting me. I'm very happy to be part of this webinar. I'm Khadija, and I'm the co-founder and CEO of a startup called Howcar. We are basically building an electric car for people with reduced mobility. And I have more than 5 years of experience in the entrepreneurial ecosystem in the entrepreneurial field.
Yeah, thank you, Khadija. Thank you for being with us. Coach Yassine?
Hello, welcome everybody. I'm just honored and humbled to be here with you, among you in this opening communications channels between youth in Africa, and this is really a great opportunity to be here. I'm Yassine. I'm the CEO of Your Lead, a company where we try to support entrepreneurs. We try to give them more, shape and to give their project a voice. I'm just happy to be here, and I was, in this experience since 2019, and I found that in the ecosystem and the startups and the young entrepreneurs, they are really facing a lot of things. Maybe they are not really saying a lot of things, but they are facing a lot of things.
Thank you, Coach Yassine. Thank you for being with us. And when we start talking about entrepreneurship and startups, the first question that comes to my mind, what drove you to create your startup? Why did you choose this path? Why did you choose to have your own business? To you, Khadija.
Well, at the beginning, what made me start this company was the need. At the beginning, I wasn't in the mood of making a startup or being an entrepreneur. I didn't know a lot about this before, but I wanted to find a solution to a need that I had. And that's what led me after to create a startup and be in the entrepreneurship world. So as being in a wheelchair, I always had difficulties to move long distances every day because, as you know, the infrastructure and public transport are not suitable for people like me in wheelchair. So I wanted to find a solution to that. Since I was young, I always had to rely on my family to bring me to school. And then if they are not available, I had to to find taxi or any kind of solution that weren't very suitable for me. So, and even I wanted to get later a car for me for people with disability, and it was very hard to get one here in Tunisia, because as you know, even if we have some advantages that we don't pay taxes by bringing some vehicles, but these vehicles have to be in certain categories. And if they are not, and if they are more adapted than needed, you will have to pay tax, and you will have to pay in currency and give a deposit, which is forbidden. And you have also to have a driving license, which will lead you to wait 6 months and give a file and be approved. So these whole issues that I found led me to think about a solution. And that's how I started Howcar. So basically, then after being able to find the solution and shaping the idea and working on that concept, I then learned how what is entrepreneurship, what is having a startup, what is leading a company and being a CEO, and starting to learn stuff and starting to make workshops and learn a little bit more step by step until I found myself in this adventure. So that's how it becomes to me.
That's wonderful, really. That's wonderful. Coming from a need and making it this big thing. And you know, I believe there's a lot of people that you are saving the life of a lot of people and facilitating the life and the well-being of a lot of people here.
Oh yes.
Coach Yassine.
This is really amazing, you know, when we hear Khadija saying this after 5 years. But this will be so amazing if we can hear from her how was the first year.
Yes.
you
can see what happens.
Well, it was a big mess, let's say. now I say it because I see it from a perspective, another perspective, because I didn't know anything about anything, and it wasn't even the field that I studied. I'm not in the automotive field, so I jumped into something that I don't have any idea on. So it was really, but I was willing to learn, and I was open to learn and to find solutions. So that's, I think, how shaped a little bit this mess and make it look now as a startup. Because as an entrepreneur, it's important to not be stuck in one idea, and to not because at the end you will find yourself into the wall. So you need to be open to shape this idea, to find some solutions. If it doesn't work, you have to shape it and reshape it and pivot many times. And the most important thing I would say also is not to be afraid to fail, because if you are afraid to fail, you will not do anything, you will not start anything. And to be able to not be afraid to fail, I would say don't take yourself too seriously, because when you start something like that, at the beginning, I wasn't taking myself too much seriously. So I just jumped to find the solution. Then it was just I had to do something, and if it will work, it's fine. If it doesn't work, okay, I will go and find a job or do something else. And this, I think, perseverance led me to not being afraid to fail, and I don't care if I fail, and also having the mindset of, okay, if I failed in something, I learned. So that's important. So as much as you fail fast, you learn more. So that's important also. And that's it. Yeah, I think.
Yeah, great, Khadija. When we hear from you, this is very inspirational. And for you, I know, as you said, you didn't. It's not what you studied, and I also know that Coach Yassine, it's not what he studied to be a coach for entrepreneurs. So for you, Coach, what drove you to do this? Why do you want to help entrepreneurs?
To be honest, it was kind of when I started this transition to become an entrepreneur and to open my business. The first idea was kind of maybe merging from field where I was working for a company, whatever, to kind of having my own business, and maybe I'll be the training, the facilitation part, whatever, all of that. And I was looking to some webinars and looking for things. How could I choose the niche? Which people should I target? Which people should I train? And in this kind of things that are coming, what happened is that I figured out that I've got some calls. People are calling me, ONGs, companies, associations, and I figured out that sometimes you try to start something and you got an idea in front of you, but it's not you what you choose the niche, is the niche that we choose you.
Okay.
So I was really after I think 6 months or 1 year of working in this field of coaching and training, I figured out. I was saying how many persons are calling me from this field, and I do have more than 80%. They are entrepreneurs. So this means that these persons, this niche, these needs, they are needing me. So I wasn't thinking about this niche. I wasn't thinking about this field. I'm an engineer. I came from project management field, and I found myself inside this beautiful world. And what really triggers me in this field is really the entrepreneurs. This spark. I don't know if I told you that, but I'm always saying this, that every time that I'm looking to their faces, every time that I'm looking to their spark in their eyes, they bring me more energy. And with this energy, I can really have robust for myself. So every time that I do, I don't know, training for them, either it's for entrepreneurs or business field, or for their project, or for their pitching or whatever, every time I train them, I end up by saying, thank you for your energy. They told me, no, thank you. I told them, no, thank you for this beautiful energy that you are sending me.
Wow, that's amazing. And how was your first year?
The first year wasn't a year. It was 10 years. So the first year was really kind of really working without knowing which direction to take. Was kind of I was sending some kind of extension to have an extension for the day, because 24 hours wasn't enough. So I was sending some kind of extension to have a bigger one day, because I was working, doing things, and I was really in a very messy, I'm going to use the word of Khadija, very messy things. And it was kind of trying to go in different directions without knowing what's really happening. And there's a lot of people to do, a lot of person they want. And every time that you want to do something you say, it's okay, now I get it done. New paper appear. Okay, I'm gonna need to do this. And after you finish this data, new folder appear. And it's really something that is really, it needs a lot of emotional, emotional kind of manage our emotions and manage our stress and manage ourselves. And there is a lot of learning on the field, lot of learning on the field itself.
So there are some mistakes that us as entrepreneurs, we do.
Yes, of course. There's a lot of mistakes that we are doing. And unfortunately, the issue is not only the mistakes. The issue is the whole ecosystem is repeating the same mistakes.
Yeah.
This is the issue.
So from your experience, what are the common mistakes that entrepreneurs here in Tunisia especially are making?
So what are the big challenges? Let's talk about what are the big challenges. And from that, we can go for the big mistakes that they are facing. Because, when we have, if I go back to what Khadija says, she was talking about problems, she was talking about challenges, but she also talks about solutions.
Yeah.
And this is the switch in the mindset that we want the entrepreneurs to do it. So let's face it, we do have challenges for sure.
Definitely.
What are the main challenges that entrepreneurs are facing? Financial ones, of course. We do have financial challenges, and sometimes you will not find another solutions, either the classic ones. This is a big challenge, yes. And what are the mistakes from this challenge? We're gonna take a mistake, and we'll talk about solutions. So the challenge is the financial part for every entrepreneur, okay? And what is the mistake that entrepreneurs are doing? They are not mastering or monitoring their financial part of their project.
Yeah.
Mastering and monitoring and observing their financial part, it doesn't mean that they will be an expert in finance. We don't need that. It's only basic things, but we need to have those basic things in Excel sheet. We need to face it. If I will start my project in 6 months from now, I need to face what are the minimum requirement financial part that I need to have it. And if I get this one shot or two first things that are happening, what I need to have this perseverance, to have this, a business is a running business.
Yeah.
It's not a one-shot business.
Yeah. For you, Khadija, yeah, sorry. For you, Khadija, what was your biggest mistake that you did? That maybe the thing that held you back a bit for a moment?
Well, I think making mistakes, even if many startups do the same mistakes, it's fine. Because, everyone needs to learn. And okay, if you know from another startup that he did this or that, and he give you the advice so you don't make that mistake, but it's not the same like doing or making that mistake yourself. You won't learn it as much as that. So it's important to, I think, making the same mistakes, that everyone make the same mistakes. I agree that it's not good to be not seeing and having a vision on what you need, but also making the same mistakes for every startup. It's important because the entrepreneur or the leader of the startup needs to learn, and you won't learn by hearing only some advices. So it's important. And you need to know something, that every entrepreneur is pretending. We don't know what we are doing. Most of the entrepreneurs are always pretending to know. And by pretending, you kind of, let's say, shape the next steps. Let's say it's like faking it until you do it. So it's fine. It's fine. It's okay. And I think the biggest mistake, well, it's not really a mistake, but it's something that I didn't know and I didn't learn before, which is having, how we say that, the sense of, how we say that, doing, making the strategies. Yes. So, and back then when I started, I wish I was better in devising strategies, especially as an entrepreneur with no prior experience in this space. You need to know where you are going. And I had, well, okay, I had a vision. I knew what I wanted to do, but I didn't have the experience of making lots of strategies, which an entrepreneur has to do regularly and learning through. So that was, I think, the biggest thing. So I think that was the thing that I needed to learn most. It's not really a mistake, but something that I lack of back then that I learned now a little bit more. And I always follow what my mentors say and listen to them, and listen also to more experienced individuals that are around me, and that's helps you a lot to avoid some mistakes, even if it's important to make some of them, so you can learn better.
Yeah. Also, I have this thought. I think that from my personal experience too, is too much thinking is a mistake. Personally, I did a lot of time overthink a lot of steps before putting in action. And I think some entrepreneurs think a lot and try to perfect things before going onto action, before doing it really, which is it may be a waste of time, a waste of energy. So what do you think, Coach? Should we really think a lot of things before doing it, or sometimes let's start, let's be courageous enough and audacious enough to start, and then we'll figure it out?
So I think here we'll be talking about, it really depends on the entrepreneur. And what if I take this as a starting point, what I find is that entrepreneurs, they are too much in the courage, or they are too much in the safe side. Right. So if I took it from you and I go to put it in general for entrepreneurs. So what I told them is that, from my sometimes from my one-on-one coaching with entrepreneurs, I found either they are too much in the action-oriented phase, that they are not preparing anything, and they are not really preserving anything, and they are not stopping a little bit to think about the strategy, as Khadija says. Or either they are so preservative and they are thinking too much, and they are not so courageous to take some actions. So I think that the fact that the entrepreneurs will be facing a lot of things and will learn a lot of things will come to a new, what I called the maturity of the entrepreneurs. The maturity of entrepreneurs will come here and will bring the entrepreneur this kind of managing his energy. If he's over speeding, he will reduce his speed. If he's has so slow movement or motion, he will accelerate this. This comes by this maturity of entrepreneurs. And I'm totally agree with Khadija that the entrepreneurs needs to put his hands in the really in the field and in the entrepreneurs, and he needs to get into these pitfalls, and he needs to get a lot of things, of course. Like this he will learn, and he will learn better what's like we say, welcome to the real life. So like this he will be welcoming to the real life, and after that he will establish and build his new maturity and his way of managing things. This maturity will serve the entrepreneur to have this evolution from year to year, this way of progressing, and this way of taking the challenges and trying to transform it into solutions. Because challenges, they are there, they will be there, and they remain there. There will be all the time challenges. Let's just be sure and ensure about that. We will all the time meet it. They're just everywhere, anywhere. It's just not the challenges, the issue. The issue is how we handle those challenges.
So yeah, so summarize passion is not really it's not the only thing that should be. An entrepreneur should learn, and learning is a non-stop journey. We learn all the way, and we improve ourselves, and we mature, like you said, all the way.
I would like to add something.
Yes, please.
To be able to overcome all the challenges that you will face as an entrepreneur, there's two things that are important, I think. The first one is to have a solution mindset. If you think about every challenge, problem you will face as a problem, and you will stick there. So it's important to see every problem you will get as an opportunity to improve something, an opportunity to find a solution. So always think of it as a challenge to overcome. And it's very important to have that mindset, solution mindset as an entrepreneur. If an entrepreneur doesn't have that, he will not be able to continue until the end. He will not be able to have that perseverance, because as an entrepreneur, you will need to hold your breath a lot. So, and you will need that. You will need really that. And second thing is to always have a positive attitude. If you don't, you will not be also able to overcome these challenges. So surround yourself with right people, and set objectives, criteria, and also, as you said, Haifa, lower the level of your expectation. That's very important. Otherwise, you won't be able to overcome these challenges.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, this is so important that I will just add something, in what Khadija says. Jim Rohn is a motivational speaker. He says, you are the average of the 5 person that you spend the most time with. You are the average of the 5 person you spend the more time with. So surround yourself with entrepreneurs that are successful. Surround yourself with mentors. Surround yourself with coaches. Surround yourself with other persons that maybe they are not in the same case as you, but they are in the mindset of solutions. They are in the co-construction side. They are in the moving forward phase, because this is what you need. Maybe you don't need the solution from them, but you need this energy, contagious energy from them.
Yes, definitely. I'm going to ask Khadija, for you now, after 5 years of working, of overcoming a lot of challenges, I believe, what do you need now for your startup, for Hawkar?
I need a lot of things. I'm still learning. I'm still pretending to know. So I need a lot of things. Well, there is a lot of challenges. I need funds. I need to finalize prototyping, finalize product. I mean, there is a lot of everyday. You know, as an entrepreneur, it's not the same day every day. So you will not to face and many challenges every day, and every day is new thing, and you will have to make decisions every day, new decisions. So there is a lot that I'm still learning. I'm not. I mean, there is a lot to know.
And do you think these kind of challenges are they specific to our ecosystem here in Tunisia, or our environment, African environment in general?
I don't really think that. No, I think that the challenges we are facing here in Tunisia, honestly, are the same everywhere. Okay, we have a lack of many things. I mean, it's true that our government is not really helping the startup, etc. But I can tell you, and I've been to many countries, that the entrepreneur challenges are the same everywhere in the world. We are all facing the same problems, the same challenges, the same issues. You need funds. How to have these funds? How are you going to bring investors? How are you going to shape your idea, make your business model, make it viable, and how to leverage it? So these are everyday challenges for an entrepreneur that every entrepreneur are facing in every country, everywhere in the world. It doesn't depend on any country, you know. It depends on the startup you want to make. It depends on the solution you want to create. That's true. It depends on the project. Some startups need more time than others. There is no a box or similar shapes to everyone. That's an issue here in Tunisia, that there is only one strategic thing that they think that every startup needs to follow. It's not true. Every startup have its own steps. So it's important to know that. Not every startup is the same. Not all the projects are the same. For us, for example, we faced that a lot. In Tunisia, for example, they always make you in a category that, okay, you need to, okay, you have the business model, you shape the idea, now you have to create a prototype in 6 months and then start to go to the market. I mean, they put you steps and they lock you in some deadlines, timelines that are not, I mean, not every startup have to follow the same rules. That's not true. Building a car, it's not the same as building an application, a web application. So it's not the same. So this is important to know. And I think some governments like Tunisia or some ecosystems like the entrepreneurial and startup ecosystems in Tunisia need to know that. When there is a competition, when there is an incubator, it's important to not be categoric with all the startups. They are not the same. We are not sheeps. You know, we don't follow the same rules. Every startup needs its time. I don't know, let's take an example for the Startup Act that we have. It says that you need to, one of the clauses they make is that you need to have a turnover like in few years. I don't remember how much exactly, but if you see in the world, let's take an example of Facebook, for example. How many years does it take to have a turnover? it's not fair to put some barriers to startups because you think that everyone have to follow the same rules. It's not true. But in general, all the issues that an entrepreneur are facing is the same everywhere. We all have the same issues. I mean, you need a co-founder, technical co-founder, you need funds, you need money, you need to build your prototype, you need to get to the market, you need to know your competitors, you need to know the market, that are needing your solution. You need to know who are you selling to. So you need to know all that. You need to know how many funds you need. What is your timeline to go to the market? You need to know all this. And these are issues that every entrepreneur are facing everywhere in the world, not only in Tunisia. So we are basically facing the same.
Yeah, and Coach Yassine, do you think also that the ecosystem itself is creating obstacles and challenges to the entrepreneur?
Every ecosystem has its own particularity.
Yeah.
So if we're talking about ecosystems from country to country, there is this particularity of every ecosystem has its own one. And if it really depends on where we want to stand in the scale of the proactivity phase. Okay, if you got the scale of having a proactive mindset from zero being zero in the proactivity and 10 being so proactive. So every ecosystem has its own challenges. Okay, so we don't have here in Tunisia, let's say, what we call the closed currency. Okay, so we don't have PayPal, we don't have, all right, this is a challenge. All right, okay. What we can see is that entrepreneurs that took this as a fact, it's a fact, okay, and they try to overcome it. They try to find other solutions. They moved from 0 to 5 to 6 to 7. We have now some solutions. We do have some startups that are talking about money. That was something that we whisper about money. Now we talk about money. Now there is some application. There are some startups that are really dealing with money and are dealing with transaction. Previously, we have been talking here in Tunisia, no way that people will deliver things. No way that things like Amazon or whatever, those kind of business case, okay, will be applicable in our ecosystem. We see now that this business is growing. This business is getting more and more value, and people are really, trying to get more, kind of services, and there are a lot of transportation or whatever, and the e-commerce is taking his place, and there's a lot of changes. So every ecosystem has its own particularity. The ecosystem here is rigid. That's a fact. As Khadija says, we do have a shape, it's a square. You do have a business which is a triangle. No, you find a solution to put this triangle into square. Now, it's your problem. Our frame is square. It's your issue. You try to figure it out. I don't know how you're going to do it. You're going to model it. You're going to cut it. I don't know. You're going to put it in this square shape. Yes, that's totally that. We still have a lot of archaic things. We are in the digital era. We do have a lot of skyrocket things. We are talking about meta reality, whatever, I don't know what. And you are still getting papers and sign it and go and do and folders and whatever. Yes, that's a fact. But with all of this, we can do a lot of things. Other ecosystems, they don't have this, but they don't have entrepreneurs because it's really a proactivity scale. It's all the time, it's about proactivity. We have other ecosystems that have challenges more than us. And we have startups that are skyrocketing. Why? Because it's not about the ecosystem. Of course, the ecosystem is not really helping, but we find that there is some institutions, there is ONGs now that are helping. The numbers are increasing from time to time. The number of entrepreneurs is increasing, and there is some solutions. There's some solutions that we can find. So it's not about the ecosystem, it's about the ecology.
Yeah, hopefully, yes, that you found solutions for that. And I have a question now. A question comes to my head. What was the turning points? For example, for you, Khadija, what was the turning points for your for Hawkar, for your startup?
What do you mean by turning point?
Like the things that happened that really changed your path, and for Hawkar, then to change your direction, took it to a next level quickly, maybe. What was, or maybe a big failure that made you rethink some stuff? What was really the turning points for Hawkar?
Mm-hmm. Well, actually, there is a lot of turning points in Hawkar since I started. I mean, there were a lot of pivoting. We changed a lot. We shaped a lot of things. So there is always things to change. But I will speak in the personal level. It really also had a big impact on me creating this startup. And I learned a lot personally, and I learned to be more autonomous as being in a wheelchair. And that's very, very important, because as being in a wheelchair, I was living in a space in my comfort zone, and then I stepped in another zone, which has led me to change and to learn more. I learned to manage my emotions and gain confidence. I learned how to travel by myself, despite being in a wheelchair. I learned a lot in the personal level and also in the professional level. So there is the turning points in the startup itself, in shaping the idea and finding the new solutions to some challenges. The technical challenges, there were a lot of shaping, a lot of turning points in the technical level to try to bring this solution at the optimum level, and also in the business model, and also in the personal level, and learned really a lot. If you had known me before this startup, you will find a shy little girl that is not even able to talk in public. And now I'm a different kind of person. I'm really another person. So this is, I mean, it really changed you. And it's also important, as I said before, that not being stuck in one idea that, okay, I want to make this idea and I don't want to change any bit of it. That's really not good for your startup and for you. If you are that kind of person, you will not be able to create any startup. You will just fail. You will just be stuck in your box, in your room, creating your own solution that you're stuck in, not seeing what is coming in the ecosystem, in the world, what is happening, and you won't be able to adapt. And that's really important to know that, to learn how to pivot and how to create these turning points. Why don't you create them yourself? Why just waiting for them to come? No, sometimes you have to create your opportunity, and to increase your self-esteem also. It's very important. And also something I would say is stop making comparison with others. That's very, very important. I mean, they always compare us to Tesla, for example. I mean, how car? Okay, it's an electric car. Okay, but it's for people that use mobility. It's a Tunisian car. It's not the Tesla. I'm not Elon Musk. So don't compare me to someone that is in another kind of spirit. So, and you have to not compare yourself also to other people. Even if you're not in making a startup, even in the personal level, I mean, okay, professional also, even if you're not an entrepreneur, it's important to know that you are who you are. I'm Khadija, Haifa, it's not Khadija. So we have our, everyone have his own steps, his own learning, his own life. So it's important to know that. And the ecosystem in Tunisia, as earlier Yasin said, it's very important that they need also to learn that and stop shaping us in the same and making comparison to others.
Yeah, I loved it when you said we create our own opportunities and our own chances. So yeah, I love it. And we might say that entrepreneurship in itself was a turning point for you, right?
Oh yes, definitely, definitely, yeah. Yes.
Coach Yasin, while working with a lot of entrepreneurs, I believe that, and seeing like Khadija and like me improving and growing as an entrepreneur at a professional level and personal level, what does it impact you as a coach and professional and personal level for you to?
So it really impacts me being in contact with entrepreneurs. As I told you, from the first time that I was in contact with them, and I was kind of, asking myself, what's really happening? It really impacts me in a personal way. Because I start having an experience with entrepreneurs before I start my business, and it really give me this boost that told me I want to, I'm envy on him. I want to be like him. I want really to be an entrepreneur. I was sometimes when I look back at those days, I think that it was so crazy to have this shift, to be honest. But what's happening is that I don't have this flair, this intuition. I don't know what, I don't know why, I don't know what's happening, but I was looking to something that is, I don't know, it's like freedom for me. So the turning point was really being in contact with entrepreneurs. What affects me professionally is the fact that entrepreneurs, they are so hungry in learning new things, and they are so up to date. And this really affects me because I found that I'm a dinosaur in front of them. They're so up to date and things are changing. And they are just, did you hear about this application? No. It started already 1 week ago. 1 week ago. Are you talking about 1 week? It's like ages for them, There is 1 week that this application has already been publicly, and there are already 1,000 on it, and really using it. This is really, I used to talk about myself, kind of. I am agile and I am up to date because I was, as Khadija says, I was comparing myself to other persons that they are not in this field. But the question here is not lying to yourself. Don't compare yourself with other persons to be in this comfortable position saying, I know a lot of things. If you want to grow as an entrepreneur, compare yourself, not to do like him, but to have this passion like him, to have this energy like him. Compare yourself with other persons, how many hours they are in their project, how many pitfalls they are facing, how many problems they have been through, and they go down and they go up, go down and they go up. This is what we need to do. We need to change our way to comparing ourselves, not to compare ourselves, kind of comparing things to really, lower the self-esteem of persons. No, this is not the way. If you want to compare yourself to the persons that are really a higher level in you, in kind of comparing in the energy, in the motivation, in the passion. This is the way we compare. And this is the turning point for me. When I was comparing myself to them, was a turning point for me. I start from this day talking to myself. All right, what should I do today to become more up to date? How should I be and develop more this agility? What needs to be done for me? And from this day, the sound of something, of a door that haven't been opened for 20 years, this sound removed, because I've got a lot of oil there, and this sound removed. And I just jumping, going further, learning from them. And this is a good point. Another point that is important is that entrepreneurs, they are open. So you can learn from them as long as they can learn from you. And this is a good point to really think about it. From the point that you are talking with an entrepreneur, and I was really amazed the first time I was a coach in a competition between entrepreneurs. I found that all the entrepreneurs are helping each other. Even there is a competition, and one or maybe three person will take the lead, and we take this label or whatever, and all the others will not. But they are just helping each other. They spend the whole night, kind of everyone is pitching, and the other one is hearing that and giving feedback and just helping each other. And this is really a very, very important point. So, I'm saying all the time, entrepreneur is not doing an entrepreneur, it's being an entrepreneur.
Thank you. Yeah, definitely.
If I may also say,
yeah,
to be a little bit more positive, it's important to see the small achievements we do. So if you really want to compare yourself, compare it to yourself. So compare yourself to yourself, how you were before and what you became, and what are the small achievements that you made. It will definitely motivate you to improve yourself better. And it's something, another thing that is important also is evading imposter syndrome. I don't know if some of you know that, but it's important to not doubt yourself and say that, okay, I don't deserve this or that, or you think you are usurping the place of someone else, or you're not qualified enough. You need to get rid of this feeling that weaknesses you. And it's important to accept that we have the qualities and overcome also the fear of failures, as I said at the beginning, and know that failing is not necessarily doesn't necessarily mean that you are a loser. That's it.
Yeah, great. Thank you, Khadija. It's very inspiring. I have this question from Sarah. She wants to know your opinion about the African market and how we as youth in Africa and our continent can improve. For you, Coach?
That's for me. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So I think that the success will come from connecting. I think that the formula of thriving for all entrepreneurs, especially in African entrepreneurs, is really to connect and reconnect. And I think that youth in Africa could be a really good bridge, building connection and having this communication between entrepreneurs, between mentors, between a lot of experts, subject matter experts. So having this kind of exchange of things. I think that exchanging a lot of things will give us, will be an eye-opening, first of all, okay? Because every one of us, let's face it, okay? Every one of us is really focusing on his ecosystem, and he doesn't know what is happening in other countries. So when we exchange between us, we will know what could be really, things that are great to do together, what are things that we can collaborate together, what things are we can help each other together. So I think that the most important thing is building more relationships, communicating, having these opportunities like this, or maybe other platforms. But it's the networking side that will bring a lot of ideas and intellectual intelligence.
And for you, Khadija, can we see how car in other African countries?
Yes, of course, definitely. It's made for that. And honestly, I've been monitoring some of girls and women in Africa through the STEMI Makers Africa. And I can tell you that every country in Africa is different. Even the North African are different from each other. Yeah. So every country in Africa is very, very different. And as Yasin said, it's very, very important to network. The networking, especially for the women, is very, very important, because the men's have the cafe, bars, in Tunisia they have the mosques, and women's don't really have too many opportunities to network. So it's very, very important to network and to learn from other experienced women, and to see the other leaders, women leaders, and see examples and learn from that. But to coming back to your question, yes, how the car we are making is really made for every country. So it's 100% electric, and it does go in every road in Africa.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. And I believe we reached the end of our session. Thank you all for attending. It was very inspiring and very rich. I'll give you the final word, Coach Yasin, and then Khadija.
So I'm just honored. Thank you for this opportunity and to be here among you. And I will definitely be so honored to attend other webinars like this. I think that this is a great opportunity to exchange, to have more interconnection and connection between entrepreneurs, and to have this space. Creating this space will just bring good things for entrepreneurs and will help them to transform their challenges into opportunities, to transform their maybe a little bit of proactivity into a very good level of proactivity, because it's all about how we see things. Entrepreneurs and entrepreneurship is how we see things. We can see problems or we can see solutions. We can see the half of the cup or we can see it half, which is full. It's really depending on our perception to see things. And entrepreneurs, they are here to build this world, and they are the future of this world. Thank you.
Thank you. It's an honor to have you with us. And Khadija.
Yeah, well, thank you. Thank you very much for this opportunity to speak and to share with you. And I would just add another advice to those who wants really to create a startup and be an entrepreneur. Okay, we are really trying to motivate people, but also you need to remember that being an entrepreneur, it's not, I mean, a pink dream or something like that. There is a lot of challenges, a lot of work to do. And it's important to know that it is always too early to quit. So keep this in mind. I honestly put this quote in front of my desk to see it every day, because unfortunately the vast majority of entrepreneurs quit right before the big payoff hits. And you need to know that the big startup winners are often just those who held longer and kept going when everyone just quit and went home. So it's good also to not quit early. So that's my last advice. And thank you again, Haifa.
Thank you so much. You are welcome. And thank you so much, Khadija and Yassine, for being with us. Thank you everyone who attended the session. See you next time. And I hope this was inspiring and helpful. And see you next time with Youth in Africa. Follow us on the social networks, and bye-bye.
Bye. Be safe. Bye.